Happy New Year, champions! Welcome to the first Idle Champions live stream for 2018. I just want to welcome everybody to the channel. It's great to see everybody coming back. Welcome, Obo Crazy, Garawar, Thantanos. Good to see you. Etaletnix. I probably messed that one up. Ed Does Everything. I like that name. That's a good one. Blariol, Faint Karmatic. And of course, Erica is currently managing the Codename Entertainment account and is totally essential to making sure that everything runs smoothly. So first shout out of the year definitely goes to Erica and Codename Entertainment. Oh, Clive CNE just subscribed. Way to go, Clive. So yes, I want to welcome everybody to our first stream of the year, and also to, you know, of course, start that off by thanking Wizards of the Coast and Dungeons and Dragons for allowing us to be here on the official D&D Twitch. It's pretty awesome. We got one of these cool gifts from Greg, Tito, and crew towards the end of last year for Christmas. It opens up in a really neat way, but it's empty right now because the prizes were ravenously taken by everybody in the office. And I'm pretty sure in the first game of Betrayal at Baldur's Gate that Minsk was the one who ended up going crazy and trying to kill everybody. So that's always awesome. We also got something else really cool that isn't necessarily for this week, but will be coming up. Those wonderful folks over at WizKids sent us a bunch of cool things. These Dice Master sets and a nice box of these painted plastic minis. They're random. I really want to open them all so I can get an Asarak. But anyways, the next time we release some Tomb of Annihilation content, at a date of which, of course, I cannot specify, we will be giving away some Tomb of Annihilation themed prizes, courtesy of WizKids. So, yes. Computer Ninja, did you get a haircut? No, I need one. You can kind of tell it's just kind of a mess, but the headphones hide it. I don't know. Probably none of you know, but I'm actually getting married this coming summer, and I haven't decided what kind of hair I want for it yet. So I'm in the process of, like, do I grow it out? Or do I cut it short? Do I wait? My fiance is growing her hair out right now, and we're all just kind of, you know, in the midst of wedding planning. So that's why my hair is kind of a nightmare, and I should probably do something about it, but I just haven't. More welcomes, and welcome and Happy New Year. Clamond is here. Computer Ninja, Badger Food, Draugr, Joe Hills, Pikater, I'm not quite sure if I'm getting that right. I'm probably messing it up. So yes, your vows are the stream code. Nice, Smirkgrin. Welcome. No, but due to popular demand, the stream code is just right there, right from the get-go. There we go, pointing at it. We're starting off with it there because people were getting impatient about waiting the 3 minutes of my terrible impromptu monologuing to get to it. So it is there. It will be active from now right through until 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific tomorrow, which is the 5th, I believe. Yeah, it's the 5th. Hello, Lucathea. Hello, Pookiepoo94. Yes, Chomsy. Welcome all. So we will be doing a few giveaways today. We'll be rolling them out every 20, 30 minutes or so. The first one coming up will be in a little bit, but it'll be for a Bruner starter pack DLC, which comes with his gold shiny epic and a full set of rare gear and some chests. In the meantime, my voice is still a little bit gone because I was those who may know, I was sick for the last 2 streams of last year, and then it's basically spent the Christmas holiday getting better, and it's still just kind of, it's like one of those things that just lingers a bit, and there's still people in the office who are sick, and it's just nightmares all around. So if I lose my voice and I stop to take a drink, that's why. Nor'easter bomb cyclone, I don't know what that means. Is that the crazy cold thing, Pookiepoo94? I remember reading about the weather, and it sounded crazy. I would complain about the weather here in Victoria, but it's only kind of cold, so it's no big deal. Hello to you too, PDX Ace. PDX, as in Portland Ace, or just PDX Ace? Oh, it's great to see so many people subscribing right off the bat, and it's making me feel lazy. So I will have to remember to do that at the end of the stream after this is over. Yes, we will be doing some giveaways, and we'll be doing it the same way that we always do through chat. Erica, using the Codename Entertainment account and the Moobot, will set up a raffle, and you can enter it by typing in !raffle once it's live. Doing that before or after does nothing, and you will need to do it each time, but then names will randomly be drawn, and Erica will send you a PM with a way to receive your codes or what have you. So yes, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. So here's where I am. No, I don't want to join me on the stream. Just playing some more Winter Shield free play, trying to push to new levels, and actually finding that I use Barrowin because that buff is bonkers, and maybe for a couple days there was a bit too bonkers. Couple days, for a little while, but we were lucky that the community helped us sort that out really quickly. So, if we have any questions, Crabtastrophe asking if there's any updates on having a way to speed up the game and maybe have it tied to achievements. I don't think that we've come to a definitive decision on how we're going to approach speeding it up. It's something that Dave has mentioned on stream a few times now, and it's definitely something that we're looking at, because eventually it will be a bit of a chore to catch up to wherever your wall is. So it's definitely something that we're looking at, but we don't have a definitive answer or solution for that yet. T1B3R. Tiber? How do I unlock new champions? I only have this dwarf cleric and the rest are normal ones. It's not a stupid question. So there's a couple ways to unlock champions, and they're all tied to gameplay. During events, actually talking to the microphone. During events, as part of the event, usually for the first mission, you can unlock the champion by achieving a certain objective. And so many of the champions we've introduced to the game are event champions. And then for a champion like Dritz, you basically need to... Oh, why isn't this? For Dritz, you basically need to push your Torm's favor pretty far. It should take somebody who's starting out like maybe a month to get enough favor and blessings to be able to progress in it. But it's actually a pretty challenging mission, and then you'll be able to unlock Dritz, who I'm obviously not using right now. Yeah. People asking, what does the raffle thing do? I don't know that we've actually started the raffle yet, have we? Did we? I don't think we did. I know people have a habit of typing in as soon as they join, but there is no raffle yet. That'll come from the Moobot. The Moobot will let you know, and then things will get rolling. I'm just leveling up Dadius here because I like to use my Dadius Ashara formation for the first 150 levels before switching over to Jamila once I have enough favor to buy up to her brute strength. So all damage all the time for all characters. So I guess before we get too far... Oh, Carrieception wondering where we can use the weekly stream code. I will demonstrate that right now. You just go into the... you go into the shop and you redeem a code, and it's Happy New Year 2018. Submit. Boom. Oh, Barrowin chest this time. Should I open these? Yeah, why not, right? Let's get this. Oh, nothing purple. All right. Next. Durable banner. And let's get the silver one out of the way. Why not? All right. So back to it. Leveling up the champions. Buy those chests. You know, I find I let them linger for long periods of time before I just buy all of them all at once. I don't know that it would make for a very entertaining stream if it was just me buying and opening chests, though. I mean, is that really what people would want to see? I suppose you could let me know if you want to see me doing that. Just say so, and I will do that. I will do so. What's everybody doing in this? Oh, Hitch isn't in the formation. What am I? I'm a bad player. Anyways, what else do we have for questions? So Timely Witch, asking what the significance is of the weekly stream code. Just as a reward or incentive or a thank you to our audience for participating in the live streams, or participating through one of the many community means of getting the live stream code. We just like to offer a chest every week with our stream code, and the code is active for about 26 hours total, because it's active at the beginning of the stream, and then it's also active 24 hours after the stream has ended, giving people all around the world a chance to, as long as they do it within a day, to get the code. And we also officially give out codes through our newsletter sometimes as well. Most newsletters have some kind of code attached to it. Every once in a while they don't, but it's just kind of like, we want to reward people for playing the game, and that's just one of the ways we like to do it. So I'm hoping that you get some good loot out of it. Xbox Happy asking if there's any information on Face Shield. If you mean the achievement, I believe we rolled out a fix yesterday. You may need to update the game, that lowered the requirement for it. Yeah, we did. It's down to E22, so that should be achievable now for everyone. Ryu Sora asking, following up, are we planning to speed up the game for faster climbing? We're planning on doing something for faster climbing, but that hasn't taken a shape yet. So we will figure it out. Silisa asking, I've been looking at gear levels based on chest quality, and silvers, scrolling too fast, provide more gear levels than golds per gem spent, about 50%. Oh, interesting. That is a very good detailed question that I will need to throw at Justin, and that we will have to have a look at. Eoghain 10 asking us if we can show the Ashara gear. Yes, my Ashara gear is awesome. Unlike Celeste, decked out in blues, my Ashara gets loot. So it's epics. It's high. It's opened lots of chests. 89. Wow. Yeah, all the things. Now that said, once I have enough gold during this run to buy up Jamila's upgrades, she's a better DPS for me than Ashara is. I just like the fact that Ashara's magic missile smokes up to like 4 enemies at a time, killing them. So it just seems to keep things going at a really nice clip, at least for a while. Yes, Stokey is very good. What do we got else we got for questions? Smirkgrin, how do you guys decide on which heroes from the Forgotten Realms to use? Some of these, like Barrowin, are pretty unknowns, but I like the spotlight they're getting. Do you just draw from a hat, or what fits the holiday, or what? That is a very good question, and there's obviously a pretty significant list of amazing characters from the Forgotten Realms that we would like to use. Obviously probably the most known ones that we have already are Minsk and Boo, Boo and Minsk, and then also Dritz, and we are definitely planning on adding more. In terms of how we pick them, what can I say that won't get me in trouble? We look at a lot of things. We look at things like just the general balance of races and like classes that are represented in the game, and like we like to make sure that we're not leaning it too far in one direction or another. And then we just kind of we spread it out. We have events coming up. We have campaign stuff, adventures and variants and so on. Like we have a lot of things coming up, and it's just kind of trying to figure out what fits for those things. I can't really give more info on that, but perhaps the next time Justin is on stream, somebody can bring that up again and get a more definitive answer, because just to get something a little bit more detailed, because I don't want to get in trouble spoiling what's coming up or when. What's the next question? What is Barrowin's Blessed Hammer skill? So Barrowin, basically when Barrowin bonks someone, I have to upgrade stuff in here, don't I? Or no, I haven't even leveled her up enough for it. When it bonks an enemy, does a damage buff to the adjacent champions, and if your main DPS champions attack slower than Barrowin, which is to say that every one of their attacks gets a Barrowin buff before hitting, it's a DPS increase that is, I think, possibly better than Tyrell. Tyrell's just flat party buff, and so it tends to be very good. Oh, there it is. When Barrowin, there we go. It's the next thing I'm going to buy. Boom. Now Barrowin is justified in actually being there in the formation. Yeah, I should have just looked at it instead of explaining it. Carnivac UK. Does the difficulty rating of missions reduce if you have very high favor? Not something I've noticed, but right on the stream forums. Yes, it does. And so basically, no, that hits the nail right on the head. The rating for the difficulty decreases based on how much favor you have, because then when you kill the first enemy, how many champions you can get and how many upgrades you can buy and so on. And then also, you know, being able to complete the objective, what's the word I'm looking for? Not in a timely manner, that's not right. How quickly you're able to max out your characters and how quickly you are able to level them up, and allowing you to push far quickly and efficiently. So that's why once you've got tons of favor and blessings and such, everything starts showing up as easy. All right. 3Y3G00. I assume that's Aigu. What's the deal with the UI being messed up? There's a black space after the level. That's not a black space. It's the level transition. Yeah. Whyner we win. Why were we win? Why were we win? Which year are the events taking place in Forgotten Realms? I calculated 1493 DR based on Drit's date of birth and his age in game. Is this correct? And is this 1494 DR now that the year has changed in real life? I'm going to defer that question to Justin for the next time he's in, because I don't have the official canonical answer handy, and I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. Moving on. Good question, though. Joe Hills, because the Forgotten Realms is in your name, are settings like Ravenloft or Dark Sun completely forbidden from consideration? How do I talk about that without spoiling it? I can say that in D&D, as we all know, there are ways that the realms are connected that make it possible to do other things. I'm not saying that we're going to do that. We certainly have a Forgotten Realms focus right now. But it's not beyond the realm of possibility that other things could be involved someday. Yeah. Personally, and this is me speaking as Dylan and not as a Codename employee, I would love to see something like Sigil, but I don't know that we have any plans to do anything like that at this time. Next question, Zayadin. As a new player, is it more beneficial at this stage to push the event or push the main campaign for favor buffs? That's a really good question for the Discord, because I don't have the math handy. But basically, event favor reaches a certain point, but the benefit to it is that you are able to build up your event favor much more quickly than you can in a campaign. So it is definitely worthwhile to get as much favor out of an event as possible. But it also eventually reaches a point where it kind of curves out, and it stops being as beneficial to keep pushing it. And somebody on the Discord would probably be best to answer that off the top of their heads. Or in chat, someone like Garwar would probably know, or Silisa, when the event favor ceases to become as useful to push. But basically what happens is the higher your event favor, when you do the conversion after the event is over, you get a multiplier on one of the other campaign favors. So either Torns or Kellenbor, you can give a significant increase to what you already have. So it's definitely really helpful. Next question, Cacklaw. What about adding some more action to the player where they could choose between some path during a quest? Oh, so you mean like while you're doing an adventure having choice? That's an interesting question, and I don't know that it's something that we're looking at, but that's an interesting bit of feedback that I will pass along to the team. Certainly something being in the spirit of Dungeons & Dragons, and Dungeons & Dragons allowing you infinite choice, more or less based on what your DM and playgroup allow. This is quite different. I think I'm going to level these characters up. What am I at? E17? Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm probably not going to slow down my push for 30 or 40 levels anyways, without leveling. Next question, PDX Ace. Any chance of introducing the Wand of Wonder to the game, or a deck of many things like a bonus level for completing a task? I suppose, like, what context do you mean in introducing those things? Are is that an item that a character gets, or is it something that you get to use, like an item in your item inventory, or do you mean some other thing that you can do? Like, I guess I'm not quite clear on what you mean by adding them to the game, because we have features for the game in development, so yeah. Wait, I should probably stop that line of thought and not get myself in trouble. Next question, Hell Crescent. How does ultimate damage and contracts scale? Ultimate damage is based off of party DPS, and then there's individual modifiers on them. Yeah. So it's like they're individualized. But contracts is based off of offline gold gain. So yeah. The large bounty contract worth 8 hours of offline gold earning. So it's a fraction of what you would be earning if you were actively playing, but at the same time, especially during an event, that's also 8 hours of tokens. So, we're doing Winter Shield right now, and I've got these snowflakes, and it's I don't know exactly how many snowflakes 1.62 EO4 is, but if I was in need of snowflakes to do the next adventure, I could pull up a contract, wait for the swish, use it, and the snowflakes that would have showed up being gained at the same time will also show up, which is really helpful. I don't know that I could help you out more than that. Lachnor, can we get an Arcan buff? It's a little weird that the most expensive guy isn't the best damage. Also, the front only ability is eclipsed many times over by Naeli. So you're saying what many players think, and those who were present for Justin's final stream of the year last year will note that he did mention that, yes, Archon is in need of looking at. I don't have an ETA on when that will happen, but he should be as proportionately powerful as per his location on the bar. Next question. The Dr. Phobos. Can you explain how best to use blessings and assigning favor? The best way. So I should preempt this by saying that there are many players in our community who are much better players at this game than I am. Off the top of my head, Thantanos, Garwar, Silisa, there are loads of players in the Discord who are probably better at this than I am. But essentially, you want to keep enough favor that your progress in missions is quick, so that you can relatively quickly push to your wall and reset and earn more favor. So you never want to get below a certain point. Personally, I don't like going below 1E09 for my favors if I can help it. And then in terms of blessings, the first two global blessings, both in the Torn's favor and the Kellenvor's favor, you want. Because they make huge difference in your ability to make progress quickly. You know, like temporary worship increases the amount of favor gained from resetting an event campaigns by 25%. That's massive, and that makes a huge difference for, you know, earning event favor. It all kind of contributes. So, you know, you want to make sure that you are always holding on to enough that you can make progress quickly. For resets and building up your overall favor, but you also want to be chipping away at making your purchases so that your characters are getting stronger, so that you're able to achieve the higher objectives. If there's an exact balance that is ideal for that, I don't have that number, but there are some very talented players who are much better at math than I am who could probably explain that, either on the Discord. And for those who don't know, our Discord is discord.gg/idlechampions. On the Discord, on the Reddit, on the Steam community forums, you should be able to find people who know that off the top of their head, and also have done the math to back it up. I'm just going to take a moment here to have a bit of my tea, just because my throat has just been brutalized. That helps. Dana Tarot, has anyone reached tier 3 global buffs of Torm, and can you explain what it does? I'm trying to remember which one that is. Yes, there were people who actually purchased it day one because they had saved up all of their fire breath potions and pushed to incredibly high levels and earned enough favor to just purchase them outright right from the get-go. Which one is this? Distractions drop 25% more gold over all campaigns. Oh, okay, so distractions are things like the birds that fly by or the rocks that shuffle that you can click on, and sometimes they pop out gold. Yeah, it's Archimedes 94. It's the useless one. It's not useless because sometimes you will do something like you will start a campaign adventure that is difficult, and you need to kill those crows in order to get enough gold to buy champions early to survive, because the enemies will one-shot your dude. And on that note, I believe we started the raffle. So our first raffle of 2018, we are giving away a Brunner Starter Pack DLC. And so that is the one that gives you his gold shiny epic gold beard clips of the clan. Oh, excuse me. Which increases the damage of all your champions by a lot. And then rare gear for every other slot, and a stack of chests. So good luck, and a preemptive congratulations to whoever earns that, because all campaigns start with Brunner, and having a good Brunner is very helpful. Effective healing word, or yeah, blessed hammer. And yeah, just gonna level up my dudes while everybody's typing in Raffle, because that's how things roll. All right. Reciprocity. Is there a limit to the amount of blessings you can get, or why can you reset blessings? Sometimes you make a purchase that you're not happy with, and you can reset the blessings and do it again. This will return almost all of the favor back. I think it's what's the exact number? I'm gonna get grilled for this if I get it wrong. I want to say you get like 99% of your favor back, so that there is a cost to resetting. But yeah, I mean, the limit is currently all the blessings that are in game, currently, and that's what I can say. Let's see. Next question. Pisces RD, Pisces Road, Pisces Road. Will there ever be a swap for Brunner? No comment. Yeah. Archimedes, are we gonna get some sweet art for Chango and Nuinovar? You mean Guinevere? You mean Drit's Panther? That's a very good question, and I know that because we've been putting in emotes on the Discord this week upon request. We have like bits of promo art for all of the characters around, but not all of them are done in the template, and not all of them are done in a high enough quality to make icons out of them. So I know there's a Chango sitting in there. I don't think we did one for Dritz's Wonderful Panther, though we will get there. And I mean, really, the champion, nobody's going to spell that one right. It's so difficult. Yeah. All right. Drew user RSGDA is not following. Congrats. Woodstock72, how far in is Barrowin? I have unlocked her, but I've yet to see her come up as an option in game. Barrowin swaps with Tyrrell. So what slot number is that? For 10, slot 10. So it takes a little while for you to get there. The Epic Newman asking what the non-gold money drops you saw were there. So there's silver ones that show up when Stokey has hit somebody, and then we kill them because that's extra gold that is signified by dropping that way. Other than that, the other things that drop down tend to be quest items for that individual mission. I was hovering over a result to make sure I spelled it correctly, but it somehow put N instead of G at the start. Archimedes. Oh, those typos will get you, just like they sometimes get us. Yes, May Gissa asking who Chango is. Chango is a... oh, no, Garwar already answered it. Arcan's mount. Yeah, it's a Manticore, a super badass one that perhaps should hit a little more hard. You know, we'll get there. Question from Aigu again. How did you decide that all campaigns should start with Bruner? So that decision was made before I was at Codename, but I'm pretty sure it's because Bruner was R.A. Salvatore's first character created. I want to say something like that, like Bruner being like one of the linchpins of the Forgotten Realms and like one of the first characters or the first character. I'm pretty sure that's why Bruner is in slot 1. Question, BC 1080, have you given thought to introducing a champion like an archer that might passively pop distractions? Oh, like shooting down the birds and stuff? That's an interesting idea. But that would make that part kind of easy, wouldn't it? Because then you wouldn't have to actively play to get the distractions because you'd have a character automatically doing it, which would minimize the effect of what the distractions are. So based on that, I doubt it'll happen. But I like where your mind is going, and I certainly like archers. There are certainly a few famous ones that could make an appearance someday in the game. Someday, I should emphasize, as in not soon. PDX Ace, why does the click damage end on progression around 60 to 70? Can't farm gold enough after those levels, or is it designed that way? It is designed that way, and Justin addressed it, I think, on his first stream, that we want it to be viable to a point. Otherwise, you know, you could just use a clicking program to just click your way through the game, and it wouldn't be active at all. So. Yeah, it is intentional for it to become less effective over time, and it's, I mean, you know, like all the aspects of the game, we're in early access and we want feedback from our community. So if something doesn't make sense or it proves long term to be an issue, you know, we certainly look at making changes. That isn't to say that we're changing that right now, but I think you get the idea. Quone asking if we can turn off the music, please. I find it distracting myself, but what I find to be a little bit worse is that the building we're in, the AC unit, and the adjacent offices, there's some like hums and droning that come through on the audio equipment when there isn't music playing. That's actually pretty irritating. So as bad as the music might be considered to be, because I mean, I like it. I think it's well done. I mean, the fact that you can even listen to it on repeat is pretty impressive. But as much as you might find that distracting, man, our building sounds are worse. You don't want to hear that. It's obnoxious. I mean, I can hear it right now in the room, and it's like, Archimedes again. I know you talk with Wizards of the Coast about the characters before they are added. Have or do you ever speak to the players of the characters? For example, Deborah Ann Wall, who plays Jamila. We do talk to some of them. Eric has spoken with all of them and hung out with them because Eric is super cool. And on that note, actually, our guest on today's stream, joining in about 20-25 minutes, will be Eric, the CEO of Codename Entertainment, who spent so much time traveling last year that he was basically sick for a month afterwards. So you could probably, we might even be able to hold that and he could speak a little bit more to what it's like to actually get to connect with Matt Mercer and Joe Manganiello and Dylan Sprouse and Brian Posehn and Deborah Ann Wall and Utkarsh Amadar, I don't know his last name. Yeah, they went bowling after the fourth grade finale or something. He's got stories. Eric has lots of stories. So yes, we do talk to them, and obviously, very vocally, Joe is an avid and excited D&D player who likes to talk about Arcan. So I could say that some of his emails are like some of the most excited emails I've ever read, I think. Next question, Jeff Ramon. Is there any way to get loot for older event characters? So if you'll notice, we did our first ever weekend buff slash promo the last weekend of last year, second to last weekend of last year, just before Christmas, in which you were able to get loot for Jarlaxle, Ashara, and Dadius in chests. And so that was the first time that we were able to, that we had a way in game for you to get loot for older event characters, even though it was the one event previous. There will be other ways to get loot for them, but I can't really comment yet on what shape that will take. Certainly the intent is that we will have events that are annual events, and that, you know, there will continue to be ways for characters like Stokey in High Harvest Tide. Like, you know, we are definitely going to have ways to get them again, but we haven't settled on a definitive way on which we're going to do that yet. Lisa asking if has Joe expressed displeasure over Archon in Idle Champions due to his relative uselessness? Always been curious about that. He hasn't. He's very busy, like crazy busy, and it's interesting because, like, there was a window there in which Archon was a very viable DPS as like your main DPS, and then like just the way the meta has shifted, and the champions released, and then the way the leveling increases have been added, he's like kind of dropped off again. And you know, like as Justin mentioned, like we're definitely going to take a look at him. BC 1080. You already take Jarlaxle mostly for gold bonus, right? Yep, we do. I just prefer Stokey because I like Stokey's debuff, because it makes you do more damage. Rotenda brings up a good point, that Arcan can be more useful than other champions based on the gear that you have, and that's also true. Arcan was my main DPS for a few weeks because I opened his shiny axe, or his whatever, what's it, Bone Cleaver or something or other. I haven't unlocked him yet, that's why I can't see it. But I opened it before I had good loot on some of my other characters, and so I used him for a long time. But with the Force Grey DLC, you know, I'm all Jamila all the time probably for a while, unless Justin comes up with characters that totally break this meta, which I can't comment on. Next question, OG17. Speaking of Fire Breath potions, are those getting reworked? Are they seen as an issue? Weird that a consumable ignores progression in gear to jump far past normal walls and break favor values open. So that is a good point, and I don't know how many of you were around when Justin did his first stream months ago. But we talked a little bit about potions because they're, you know, some of them offer a lot more than others do. And so there is intent at some point in the future to do a pass on our potions and that system and have a look at it. Because clearly the difference between a potion that allows you to do 1% of a monster's health on click versus a potion that allows you to do 8% of a monster's health on click makes a pretty big difference in what you can accomplish and how far you can push. So it's something that is being looked at, but we don't have an ETA on how long that'll take. We're an intimate-sized team here at Codename Entertainment, and we definitely are still getting into an ideal cadence for developing for Idle Champions. So I don't think that I can go any further on that topic at this time, OG17, but I hope that helps. Who's next? Drauger. Any thoughts on a daily login bonus? Something that might get bigger the more days in a row you log on. That's an interesting question. Just as much feedback as it is a question. I can certainly think of quite a few games that do something similar and that encourage people to log in every day to keep playing. I will pass that along. I'm just going to make a note. Yes. So, make pots accelerating enemy spawn. Dana Taro. That's an interesting question. Kaldinda, just make click potions be based on party DPS instead of enemy health. That's an interesting idea too. I'm not really sure which route that Justin is taking on it, but he is way better at math than I am. So I will let him sort that out. Make like daily restart the client because I never log out. Reading out Lossian86. Is there any way we can get a list of what buffs you get at what levels before you actually level said champion? If this post makes any sense. So you're wanting to be able to see what the entire tree of upgrades is for a champion before you pick them. That's a nice bit of feedback. I think it's come up a few times now. Oh, I can start buying Jamila. Yeah. Oh, some math coming in. Chukatibs, clicking potions could be like a base potion after level. Oh. Yeah, this is all good feedback, and I totally want it, so appreciate it. Alrighty. Where are my champions at? Do I need to level them? Do I need to manage this? What do we got for questions? Any particular reason why you put Makos in a spot where 3 people don't get his buff? I'm not going to lie. I've been kind of just lackadaisically putting this one together instead of using one of my save formations. Because I think usually Makos is slightly over. Blunk. A negligible increase. The important part is that Makos' buff hits whoever your primary DPS is. And in this case, it's Ashara. Sometimes you'll end up with a 2 DPS formation, in which case it's nice to have them hit more than one. Usually those are humans, and like you're using Hitch and Jamila for those ones. And so, there's lots of options. It said it was a decrease, but I don't think that it actually was. I think it was just because of the cooldown on Barrowan at that moment. Because it shouldn't be a decrease. Yikes. Yeah, so that's why. Just Black Anthrax, it's lazy gameplay is why Makos was in that spot. Because I don't usually spend a lot of time optimizing my formation until I start getting a lot closer to my wall. So probably another 80 levels. I don't even know that we will hit it before the end of the stream, to be honest. I probably should have started this sooner, but I just reset because I'm trying to get my favor up. What else do we have for questions? Lucathea, any plans to rework buff indicators? The runes of the circle are pretty, but not good for tracking Barrowan's buff. Yeah, that's definitely something that has come up before. I don't know that there are plans for it, but certainly something that indicates that you have that stacking buff from Barrowan would be helpful. Dadius is hitting Ashara because it's within 2 slots, not within 1. So you can have Dadius here and hit, the relevant champions. Swap Dadius and Minsk. No, look, the shard's not missing that buff. See? Darius's buff is 2 out. It's actually like quite wide reaching. It's a slight increase, but not much of an increase. Anyways, what's next? Sirhan, is the difficulty curve going to go up? I was able to do first events on 100%, and as a casual player, 2 latest events are much harder despite me getting way better gear. It is intended to gradually go up over time, I believe, just because global blessings and stuff will make things more easy, and then gear and such. But we're also like, this game's in early access, as I mentioned before, and we are still trying to strike that balance. Like, you know, we've definitely had achievements come out for an event that were nerfed partway through. You know, the latest of which being this one right here, the Faith Shield. It was a significantly harder to achieve objective last week than it is this week because we decreased it. Certainly a wise endeavor comes to mind for ones that were very tough. So yeah, I mean, we want it to be a challenge because we want every event that comes out to be something that people can accomplish, but that like provides a challenge both for players who have been with us for a long time and players who are new. Yeah, if you start playing the game late into an event, your chances of being able to complete the entire event are a lot slimmer than someone who has been around for a while, has gear, and starts right away. Lossian 86. Only other question I got is Celeste's ultimate going to get fixed? Seems to hit like a limp noodle lately. You know, it's a good question. I haven't noticed anything myself, but I tend to only use a handful of ults over and over again to make my clears, and the AoE ones for me always seem to miss and hit one dude instead of groups. So yeah, what else do we have? We have so many questions in there. Farming snowflakes, significantly harder. Read, impossible. So on that note, Archimedes, just speaking to increasing difficulty, Dritz is a challenge to unlock, but the first version of that was more difficult, much more difficult. And you know, we did some testing, and it's like, oh, okay, like this might actually be impossible for people right now. So, you know, it was that challenge was made a little bit easier before it even reached players. But yeah, you know, like it's one of those things where, you know, we're trying to strike a balance based on math and experience, and you know, our own skill in developing the game. I'm speaking for everybody right now, not just myself. And you know, we always want to be increasing. What's the word? How do I want to phrase this? Like, we want there to be a challenge, because if it's no challenge, like, you know, what are you working towards? And like Dritz being as difficult to unlock as he is means that there's always something to work towards. If you're a new player, it's like, oh, Dritz is in the game, but it's going to take me a while to get there, and it gives you, you know, something to work towards. Mortan, the best use of Celeste ult is to heal Naeli when you're pushing new levels. That's a good use as well. Statement, I know how that feels when Makos' ult rolls a 1 giant dwarf. Yeah, that is kind of what it feels like when you cast a Celeste ult or a Makos ult, and it just hits one enemy. Yeah. Oh yeah, somebody else asking about why click damage kind of caps out. Sunsinger, how do you unlock Dritz? So Dritz swaps with Makos. Not using him on this mission, obviously, but there he is. You need to get quite far into the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast in order to unlock him. So you will basically have to have completed everything up to Waterdeep to unlock the mission to go to Waterdeep, and then the Waterdeep missions. It's the after completing all 3 of them, there is a variant for one that you'll have to complete. I want to say it's called Underdeep Cartography. And so that one is where, yeah, you do that one and you'll get, oh, did that start? Oh, our next raffle is open. Yeah, so it'll take you a while, but it's in Grand Tour of the Sword Coast is where Dritz is. And if you're reading the event text, like for doing the individual adventures, there is Dritz is alluded to relatively early on, and it's just kind of eventually you get the mission to like go catch up with him and you do a mission with him in the party, and then you can unlock him, and then you start getting gear for him. So it's definitely a process. He has an incredible ultimate and some very good abilities, and also has buffs related to the companions of the hall. So yeah, he's a good champion. I'm excited to see where he goes. Somebody asking what this raffle is for. So this current raffle is for a Calliope, Force Grey DLC. So I'm not even using Calliope right now. But you get this ornate loot of ballads, gold shiny epic, rares for every other slot, and a bunch of chests. So yeah, I mean, Calliopeia. It's not Pea. Anyways, she's a darn good buffer, and she gets even better with that. So good luck, and congratulations to whomever. Calliope. You know, enough people have said it wrong around me that I now get it wrong more than I get right, because I used to know how to pronounce it properly. So I'm sorry that I suck at that. Next question. Reciprocitat. Idea. What about being able to get items like those eggs from D&D that would spawn a number of mobs? So you mean an item that like you click on it in the inventory and it spawns mobs? That could be interesting. Y1NZ3R. Yinzer. Are there any plans on enriching endgame gameplay, specifically when you can max all player levels before hitting your wall? So, you know, players who've been with us for a while know that we've already actually increased our level caps once with further upgrades for all of our champions. One day I will see the musical instrument. What did Lauren say there? My chat's scrolling fast. That she is named after. Oh, I'm just going to pull that up another window. See below for pronunciation. It's an actual instrument. Oh wow, that thing is enormous. Huh. Cool. Thanks, Lauren. The more you learn. Neat. So yes, Yinzer, we do at times release increases to level caps and champion upgrades so that people can push further, and that will happen again. Next question, Mike. Are there any free codes from following on various social media and so on? At times, most of our codes that we give out as Codename Entertainment or Idle Champions officially tend to come out through our newsletter or through the live stream. So you have the code just there. I think I'm pointing at it, but I can't see where I look on the screen. So we do that, but sometimes there are others, and certainly we have other giveaways and such that we do as well. You know, we also sometimes give out batches of codes to our partners and other influencers who want to, you know, raffle them off to their fans, and so sometimes that happens as well. So certainly if one is looking around, there are lots of codes to be found for the game that will get you, you know, chests and such. All right, Lord Theobald. Is there something wrong with the challenge indicator? I ask because when I try some quests that say it's easy, sometimes it's far more difficult than something that was listed as more difficult. For example, the water deep indicators say easy, but I cannot get past 135. That hasn't been my experience, but I think that sometimes easy missions can be challenging in that they still require active gameplay. Like, yeah. I don't know that I can answer that in a more satisfactory way. That would be a good question to bring up with Justin or David, who can speak to how the game looks at that and how it's rated and developed and stuff. Yeah. Giant Dwarf. Will there be a Team Force Grey team buff? I don't know. The Force Grey characters are pretty absurdly good right now, aren't they? I mean, Friendly is super good. Calliope is super good. Do they really need more buffs? I mean, right now everybody's using them. Like, wouldn't it just make it oppressively good? Joe Hills, can I meet any of y'all at PAX South? I don't know that PAX South is one of the conferences we'll be participating in this year. We haven't finalized all of our decisions on it, but yeah, I don't know that PAX South is on our list. It's coming up really quickly too, right? So certainly we haven't been talking about it. So if we are going, that would be really last minute. You know, in fact, I think that we were actually Clive and myself were talking about this yesterday, the day before. Like, wait, which conferences are we participating in, and where are we going to go, and do things like handing out shirts and such. And I'm not sure. Is it like it's next week, right? PAX South. There's enough PAXs now that I don't actually keep track of them anymore. PAX South is next week. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're not going to be at that one. Sorry. Yeah, because I know Eric was at PAX Dev, and some of the PAXs are on our lists of what we're attending, but I'm not sure. Candyman, how did your game sessions go playing your Aasimar cleric over the holiday break? That's a great question. They went better than they went before the break, where I nearly got killed by a swarm of velociraptors. Got knocked unconscious by a bunch of crits immediately, which was painful and embarrassing. It went really well. We what did we do? We cheesed an encounter entirely because our tiefling rogue has wings, and one of our wizards cast invisibility on them, and they flew up to the top of a tower and ripped off a bunch of stuff instead of fighting anything, and then that allowed us to complete a bunch of stuff without any combat at all. I mean, there was a lot of lucky rolling involved, but and certainly if it had gone poorly, we couldn't have done anything, and that character definitely would have died. But it went really well, and then after that, we got lost in the jungle for a bit, and then explored some dragon remains and found a treasure cache. And we've just now made it to, I can't remember the name of it, the one of the Arakocra cities, and we haven't, as a group, been able to get everyone together to role play through that session, because there's going to be a lot of talking involved. And one of our characters is played by someone on the spectrum who is playing a character on the spectrum, of course, who interacts very oddly socially with people. So it's going to be really interesting, and we're excited for it. When I bring Jamila in, I'm going to basically have her in relatively the same spot. In fact, I think I've unlocked enough people to swap over, so... Ooh. No, got to unlock Calliope. Alright. Is that actually overall better damage than I was doing before? Yep. Here we are. Up to the Jamila formation now. Oh. Oh, what? Oh, did I click on the wrong one? Yeah, I did. That's why. There we go. Alright. Shaky Badger. Could you add some sort of overlay that shows the percentage of damage a champion does compared to the whole team? Oh Okay, I will pass that feedback along. I don't know that I can add anything to it. So it's time for me to welcome our guest, my boss, the CEO, the head cheese.
The good-looking man in the kilt.
Yeah, the Eric Jordan, who you may have seen on Sirens of the Realms. Yeah, I should probably just switch this thing over, and then you can actually be seen. And then I need to shove over a bit.
Yes, there we go. We can cuddle up.
Yeah.
You're not sick anymore, though. Kind of, still, little?
No, I just have the remnants of stuff that are trapped in my crappy sinuses, but I haven't been contagious since over a month, because I got a sinus infection after getting the cold. That was the part, like, I can't pass those on, but it's awful.
Thankfully.
Yeah. That was really unpleasant. Yeah,
So
definitely want to slide over a little bit. So you're not,
oh, there we go.
There you go. You're not being chopped.
Well, no, you almost chopped off there. Yeah, come this way, though.
Yeah.
There you go. So last time I sat in these chairs was for Extra Life.
Oh yeah, you were on stream with your son, right?
Yeah. I was. I did a little bit of streaming stuff, and then also, I guess I was in here. Well, one of the D&D games was going on and providing support.
Oh, you're doing some commentary?
No. It was just like, because when people were donating and stuff, and then letting Adam know that a donation happened.
Oh, nice.
And all that kind of stuff. So
that was a lot of fun, actually. We definitely made no progress through that campaign because so much stuff was thrown at us, but it was a lot of fun to do it.
Yeah, I think everyone had a blast. People enjoyed watching it, and people enjoyed donating and raising money for kids, so that's all good.
Yeah.
Well, playing D&D, so like...
Yeah, it was wins all around. And also having less control over the character that I'm playing than I'm used to. And so like rolling negative traits that I have to play and positive traits that I have to play was a nice shift. Especially for someone like myself who's a bit of a control freak about how I develop my character. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm doing this.
I could never imagine you doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, someone was happy that we went to Incon. There we go. Up in the stream of things.
This stream of consciousness that is the chat.
There we go. Who's that? Daylight
Asunder.
Daylight Asunder. Yes, you're welcome. Going to Courtney, the raging game scene in Courtney. Well, actually, there is a few things happening up in Courtney in terms of video games.
Really?
Yes.
What?
Like, whoa.
Sorry, I've been to Courtney. That's a surprise to me.
Yeah, but it's true. I guess Blue Wizards Games has got their game Slayaway Camp that they make up there.
Right.
Yes, which is a really fun puzzle game. If you want to play a puzzle game themed around sort of voxel take on Friday the 13th type summer slasher films.
Voxel's not a word I hear very often anymore either.
Well, I'm dating myself. It's all the gray in my hair. And then, but most notably, Hinterland has an office up there, sort of headquarters is up there.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. So the Long
Courtney.
Dark, like out of there. So, yeah.
I could see why somebody in Courtney would conceive of the Long Dark, though. No, I'm kidding.
Yes, there we go.
A little unfair.
There we go.
Cool. I was just saying earlier that we got a question in that I thought that might be good for you. I'm just trying to remember which one it was.
Why is D&D awesome?
I feel like that's obvious, but
there we go.
Certainly there are
because
more.
it's from the 70s.
I can't believe we've already been through this many questions.
Last time I was actually here officially as a guest, though, we only had one monitor and much more chaos.
That was the first stream.
That was the first stream.
And now it's the first stream of the new year.
I know, it's like a thing.
So you can actually not show up again until this time next year.
That's right. And then Obe there was talking about BC's filled with some awesome game studios, especially around Vancouver.
Oh, well, crazy. That's Lauren Urban who does Destiny.
I know. Hello, Lauren. Thanks for joining us. And yes, actually, I was at EB Games over the holidays looking to pick up a used 360 controller for my PC to play some games with the kids. And I was looking at all the games that they had that were, of course, made in Canada. And I'm like, you guys should have like a made in Canada section. They just looked at me and blinked because, of course, they're retail in the middle of the holidays.
They just want to make sure there's enough copies of Destiny for people to buy or whatever, right?
Yeah. Star Wars Battlefront.
Star Wars Battlefront.
Yes.
So that was the question. Archimedes just reminded. They were asking whether or not, like, because they know that we talked to Wizards of the Coast about everything developing the game, but like, when it comes to characters like the Force Grey characters, do we talk to any of the people who play them? And you do.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, not just I, and it depends on the actor and kind of what they really want in terms of interactions. Our primary contact is with Wizards of the Coast, of course, and so it all starts with us working with the lovely folks that we work with over at Wizards. But we have had the chance to chat with, I guess the one that we've spoken to the most would be Joe Manganello, who of course plays Arcan. And then, I've chatted a fair amount with, at a couple of different events with Dylan Sprouse, who I actually had no idea, I guess not being in the target demographic of folks who may have been exposed to Dylan.
The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody is
there we go.
Probably a little after your time.
Yeah. No, it wasn't something that I watched a lot of. So, though I have to say, I did go back. I had the opportunity to be out at the New York Force Grey show. Ended up chatting with Dylan some more there, and so I came back and I said to my wife, like, we're gonna watch this first episode of The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. So we watched that just because I'd never seen an episode, or couldn't remember having seen an episode. So
wow.
So some of the folks, it's kind of been great. I guess actually, because I saw them all at the Force Grey show in New York. So even folks that I hadn't had a chance to meet before, I got a chance to meet everyone there. So,
yeah, and you went bowling.
We went bowling afterwards. It's true. Yeah, it was the first time I'd been to a bowling alley that had half of an alley, and it was like half bowling alley and half kind of dance place, with drinks and stuff like this. So yeah, that was fun. It was
half a club.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
dance place.
Yeah, what club? Okay, sure. Okay, look, I'm an old man. I know my kids are closer to going out to clubs than I am at this point. So.
It sounded like fun.
Yes, no, it was lots of fun. Yeah. I'm out. Matt Mercer was out with Marisha,
his wife.
His wife, yeah. And so, we were all very bad at bowling. So that was fun. Some folks were a little better than others, but I was definitely not great. I've never been great at bowling. I continue to not be great.
Oh, we're getting some game-related questions there.
Game-related questions, okay.
Yeah.
Who won the bowling? We actually played several games of bowling, and so, I don't know. I didn't win anything.
No?
No, yes.
Oh. Why don't you use the stream alert for patches as well? That's a...
We were just talking about that.
Yeah, that is a topic of conversation.
Like 2 days ago, we've been talking about that. Yeah, I think it's partially because, a lot of the rhythms and kind of processes that we established for Idle Champions comes from the game that we've done before, Crusaders Lost Idols, and we hadn't had the notification system then, and so we sort of, because we weren't doing streamings and stuff like this, and so we were talking about like, hey, maybe this would be a useful thing. So no decision at this point, but an active question right now.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things where, certainly with Winter Shield, it was the first time that there wasn't a forced restart in a patch the day that it came out.
Right.
It was already in the game. And so players playing, they're playing. And then they come out and they're like, oh, wait, there's an event? Because they had no idea that nothing really popped up to tell them immediately. Certainly this little nugget here would have been there, but it's in a convenient to ignore part of the screen that maybe people aren't always looking at.
I was focusing on. There we go.
Yeah.
Someone's asking if I play Magic the Gathering.
Oh yeah, do you? Have you?
No.
Really?
I've actually never played Magic. So I've played like a huge amount of board games and stuff like that. And it was interesting when, right around the time Magic was coming out, a lot of different companies started experimenting with like faster games that you could play using cards. And I was at the time a big fan of Avalon Hill and playing a lot of Squad Leader.
Okay.
And there was a Squad Leader card game that came out that you could set up and play really, really quickly in comparison to sort of Advanced Squad Leader, which would take you like an hour just to set up and then, hours to play and hours to put away.
Yeah.
And so this like whole kind of cards matched with kind of gameplay was sort of very much in the air and kind of the game shops and stuff I was hanging around with. And then I started my first company, and my life was consumed by that. And then pretty much right after that was when Magic came out, and so my life was consumed by building my first company at the time that Magic first came out. Otherwise, I absolutely would have played it. But
I did play it then, and it was good. But it's one of those things where, like, at least for myself, I never played it steady all the way through. I would like sell my collection and go do something else for a while, and then come back. But I'm pretty impressed at how far the game has come, and like it's still a lot of fun to play. I just don't find time for it anymore.
I've been playing a lot of Dominion, the card game Dominion.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we had the base set and 2 expansions before Christmas, and then I got 2 expansions for the family, sort of as like gifts from me to us. And then my eldest son decided that while those expansions were great, there was 2 other expansions he really wanted that we didn't have, and so he bought those expansions. So we exited Christmas holidays with 6 expansions in the base set, and I've been playing a lot of
How long does it take to play then?
Dominion's actually really quick. Like, well, it depends
With all
on
the expansions though?
No, but usually, I mean, we use a randomizer online, and so you just like tick which expansions you want included in the set of cards that are going to go out. But there's still only ever 10 supply piles that go out.
Yeah.
And then you just sort of pick those, and so so we go from there.
I just think of like Carcassonne. It's like we're gonna add all the expansions to it. It's like, okay, this is gonna be a long game.
Oh yeah,
you just quadrupled the number of tiles in the bag.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was actually thinking about that over the holidays. Is we got the expansions for Dominion, which in general I think make the game play better, add new gameplay types which are fun. And there's another really simple game called Sushi Go that we love to play.
Oh, that one's good.
Yeah, but I really don't like the expansion. They came up with an expansion that added all these new mechanics, and like the core, for me, elegance of that game is it's like this tiny little thing. You can pick it up, deal it out, you explain it in 2 minutes to someone who's never played a game before, and they could be playing.
Yeah.
And suddenly, like, all of that was gone, and it was like, the core reason for me playing this game is now gone.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. There's another really kind of quick pickup game called Machikoro that's really fun.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it's another really fun. You play at the Board Game Cafe. That one also, I found the expansions ruined game. It made the game really long, and like it removed a lot of the elegance that I enjoyed about that game. So those are both 2 games that I kind of like look at, and I basically removed all the expansion content that we ended up getting from the base games, and I have them wrapped in like elastic bands with notes on them. Crappy expansion, do not use. So
wow.
There we go. Yeah.
And on the Twitch Reviews Games channel with Eric, it's funny.
Games, yes, there we go.
Somebody's just asking a question. Is like, was the Extra Life Yetis a bit of foreshadowing for the Daddies event, Giant Dwarf? I'm like, actually no.
I don't think so.
All the extra stuff for our Extra Life D&D, those were all random cards. Based off of donations and a pre-built chart that our artist, art director Adam put together.
Yeah, but Adam, I assume he probably was working on the art because the lead times on the art are far enough in advance that he may have been working on the art, so that might have seeded some of his thinking.
I suppose that's possible. Yeah.
So it could have been not intentionally, not in certainly any Munchkin. Actually, so I picked up Shakespeare Munchkin for my wife.
Shakespeare Munchkin?
Yeah, there's a new version of Munchkin. Well, I mean, it's Munchkin. It's just done with Shakespeare stuff. So I played that with... then my wife remembered how much PvP there was in Munchkin, and decided she didn't like playing with all that PvP. So she likes cooperative board games more. So
look at a Justin question that I can actually probably answer.
A Justin question?
Yeah, Mr. Sibbs, any concerns over the news about the Intel CPU bombshell and possible impact on game performance? Justin was in here at like 2 a.m.
No, well, not here. He did it from home.
Did he do it from home? I thought he was here. But he was up in the middle of the night.
He was up. Yeah, he was up because Amazon said like, hey, we're going to be doing some stuff to fix all this, and we'll have to be restarting servers at some random points, and they gave us like this window between midnight and 6 a.m. I think Justin said, and so he was up both at 1 a.m. and then at 3 a.m. fixing stuff. So then had a chance to do some sleeping.
Yeah.
Later today when normally he'd be here. So. Yeah. So we've been. So I think we're good on that, but Dylan and I leave it to the technical, brilliant people.
The people who got degrees in computer science are a lot better suited for that than I think we are.
And what's your degree in? Just media studies?
Communications.
Communications.
Which is not a real thing.
There you go.
Basically.
Well, mine's in visual arts, so is that a real thing?
Really?
Painting? Yeah, didn't you knew that?
No, I didn't.
My degree's in painting.
Visual arts?
In visual arts, yeah. I have a painting degree.
How did you get into
with
starting
honors.
Companies? What does that have to do with visual arts?
What else are you going to do with an art degree? I certainly wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah.
A friend and I had been putting together an image database and some computer stuff for the Faculty of Fine Arts. And so that led to us starting a company around those sort of ideas that we were working on.
Okay.
So.
Let's see, what do we have here? have you had the chance to discuss introducing ways for players to pay you money for the game without purchasing randomized rewards? I don't know that we have had that discussion.
I mean, well, to some extent, the DLC, like, so we've done various DLC packs, which to some extent do that, where you have guaranteed rares and stuff like that, the guaranteed levels of rarity cards that you'll get as a result.
Yeah.
So we've done some stuff, and one of the things that we've been doing with Idle Champions has been more DLC packs than we had done with Crusaders. We just did a couple.
Huh.
So.
Oh, this is interesting. Selthulu. Talking of Matt and Marisha, is there any chance of ever getting the Vox Machina characters from Critical Role into the game?
Is there a chance? I guess there is a chance. It's funny, right before I was just pouring myself my tea and coming out here and thinking, I wonder what questions I may be asked, thinking of this one. And we would love to do that. There's a lot of steps between here and there, so I don't know that it will actually come to be, but that would be really awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to make happen because it's not something that Wizards of the Coast and D&D owns.
Yeah, I mean, there's we are a licensee of Wizards of the Coast, and so we have sort of, signed agreement and all that kind of stuff with Wizards of the Coast, and so we license Dungeons & Dragons and Forgotten Realms' kind of setting and all that kind of stuff from Wizards of the Coast, and so that is our agreement. And while there are Critical Role and other games out there as well that are using Dungeons & Dragons, they're not necessarily set in Forgotten Realms, and they're certainly not part of the agreement.
Certainly, yeah. Critical Role is in Matt Mercer's homebrew world.
Yeah, and so kind of mapping out what that could look like, and lots of pieces to do. But I mean, as a player of our game, I would love to see that in there. So that would be awesome if we could do it.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know if we can. But I would love to do it if we can.
Yeah, I think there's a willingness all around, but it's not as easy as being like, yes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So what does Dylan actually do? I'm going to ask that to you. Dylan, what do you actually... Or is it Dylan Sprouse that they're referring to? Or are they referring to...
I assume they're talking about me. Because why would they care about Dylan Sprouse? Who is that?
Who is that guy? Well, Dylan Sprouse basically spends most of his time running a meadery right now, so that's...
Yeah, he makes booze.
Well, mead. Not booze, mead. Particularly mead. He's very into his mead, so yes. So Dylan Sprouse makes mead. What does Dylan Wilks do?
When?
I assume at work.
Here?
I'm assuming. When he's not at TEDx.
Well, I don't do that anymore.
I know. I was thinking when we first...
We shut that down, actually. That was
shut that down.
That was hard to shut it down.
Yeah.
It was hard to let go of.
Yeah.
Because in my spare time, yes, doing things like starting nonprofits and running events, and working as doing a promotion for music festivals and working with production companies and all those fun things, mixed multimedia communications related work. Which, if you're in the industry at all, you know how vague of a statement that is, because it's like anything. These days, planning a wedding. It's right up near the top of the list. That's
this year.
Yeah. My anniversary is in a couple of weeks here, and the big event is in July. Lots of stuff happening all around that time. Still trying to figure out exactly which days I need to book off so that I can book them off for it. Or I get in real trouble.
We're gonna stream though from your wedding, right? That'll be part of.
God, no.
I'm sure. No, come on, that'd be great.
No.
Just set up.
No, because we're doing a musical wedding, and that would be weird. No, I'm kidding. That would be really strange.
You're doing his D&D, and I'll be rolling dice.
Yeah.
Do you get married? Let me see. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That would be fun. But I don't think that's what she wants to do, so that's not going to happen.
You guys play? I think you guys play D&D together.
We do.
Right.
Yeah. And she loves it.
Right.
Yeah. Actually, Force Grey was the gateway into getting my fiance to play D&D. Because she's like, "What are you doing? Is this for work?" And I was like, catching up on Force Grey. I'm like, actually, yes, it is for work. I'm catching up on this because I was like, weeks behind on it. And we watched the whole finale together. The whole thing. Like, she came in to watch a bit of it and then stayed. And then at the very end, she was like more edge of your seat than I was.
That was a great ending, I have to say.
Yeah, it played out really well.
Yeah.
And kudos to Matt Mercer for having some tools in his toolbox to pull out when they TPK'd.
Yeah.
Spoiler, it didn't go great.
That's right.
It's been a month and a half, so I don't mind sharing that. But
also, interesting fun fact for folks in the stream who maybe haven't seen this, but there was an article that came out, I want to say a month ago or so, maybe 6 weeks ago, that was talking about the role that things like YouTube and Twitch and people playing Dungeons and Dragons was having in terms of people coming into playing tabletop RPG games, particularly D&D.
Yeah.
And one of the stats that they threw out there was that over 50% of the folks who first came in playing 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons have come in because, like your wife, they'd watched Force Grey or Critical Role or something, and that
fiance.
got them,
I can't call
fiance.
it that yet.
Sorry, fiance.
Yeah.
Jumping ahead, just living in a time warp here.
Yeah.
Fiance, that her experience of watching it and then going, oh, this is what this is. This looks like this is fun. I wouldn't mind doing this. Is not atypical at all.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, and it's definitely one of those things where seeing people that you think are cool or that you admire playing it makes it something that you're comfortable with doing or admitting that you do.
Right.
Which has not always been the case for something like Dungeons and Dragons. I certainly wasn't telling people in high school that I played D&D.
Yes.
And so it's very cool to see that it's like there's a mainstream appeal that is becoming acceptable, and it's like nobody's going to accuse Joe Manganiello of being some wussy nerd.
I pulled that out actually. Someone over the holidays was talking about nerdy activities like Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm like, do you think Joe Manganiello's a nerd?
And he is, because his wife says so.
Wow, and then it's got to be true.
Yeah,
there you go.
Because there's an interview. It's like, what does somebody know about what do people not know about your husband or whatever? And like one of her first interviews after they got married, and she's like, he's a huge nerd, and they're like, what? He's like, he plays D&D in the basement all the time. And I was like, people are like, whoa, really?
I know.
Because all they see is the big rip dude from Magic Mike. Yeah, okay, let's see. Paranitis, actually answering questions. I think we as players enjoy the available characters. The problem is we may not know where these characters come from, other than maybe Brunner, Jarlaxle, Dritz, and Minx. Any plans on including in the character bios if these characters are from a game or a book or wherever else?
Yes.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Well, no, it's not, 100% agree with that. It's something we've actually talked about for a while, would be having, I think what we were talking about doing was having a, potentially a tab on the character detail. Whoa, whack that mic. Yeah. And so it would be sort of like, sort of out of fiction kind of information about the character, like this character first came from Baldur's Gate or wherever.
Fourth wall breaking information.
Yeah. Because, I think a lot of players, and I've certainly seen that in chat, is like, depending on kind of how you come into the game, you're like, I know this character, but not these other characters. And of course, they're all set within that that canon. And so understanding where you can go, like, oh, I want to read more about Dritz because, edgy drow sound great to me. Like, where do I go? And like, oh, here's all this information.
Edgy drow sound great. And then the other thing is, like, certainly their stat sheets. We could cite where their stat sheets are from because many of them have had their stat sheets changed quite a few times.
Well, the challenge about the stat sheet, right, is that we present them as static when, of course, when you're leveling, because we don't use 5th edition rules, as everyone knows, and so you're leveling up, and you've got, Minsk right there at level 230, and so in any D&D interpretation, the stats would be way different.
He would be so far beyond a god, it'd be stupid.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be, because, your stats would be increasing, and then also different iconic characters have had sort of different kind of representations at the different times. So are you talking about Brunor when he's first starting out? Are you talking about Brunor in sort of 5th edition Forgotten Realms? Like, who are you actually referring to? And so the idea of putting stats on there actually proved to have more devil in the details than I think we initially anticipated.
Yeah.
So, or maybe Justin anticipated and just didn't tell us all.
He probably did, actually. Have you thought about allowing a player to generate their own starting tune? It has come up, and it's not something we're looking at.
Yeah. That's true.
Let's see. This is interesting. Angry J. You have Force Grey characters, but are you considering including earlier Force Grey characters like Will Wheaton? That was Chris Hardwick's character
died.
That got
squished.
Mega crushed. Just totally toasted.
That was a great moment when that happened too in the show. It's like,
it was shocking even.
Yeah, I think they were all shocked. They're like, oh, you're dead now.
Did this just get real on us? Yeah.
That
was good.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really cool idea. Honestly, we haven't chatted with Wizards about that.
Yeah, there were other players in the first season because Hitch and Calliope were in the first season, but Ashley Johnson's character that I forgot the character is at this point isn't in the game.
But certainly other ones. So that's a great idea. So look, and another Sun Singer. Is there any chance of getting Akink characters in the game.
Same
answer
as
as
Vox Machina. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Vox Machina. Yes, we'd like to, but lots of pieces. Don't know if it'll actually happen.
And for those of you who stay tuned to this Twitch channel on a regular basis, probably watched Dice Camera Action the other day, where where Acquisitions Inc. made an appearance in a very epic way in a game that Chris Perkins was DMing, where they show up in a blimp and like fail to harpoon a dragon and are just kind of there. But it was a really good episode, especially because at least in my experience, like it's. Like it's hard to play monsters really well as a DM sometimes. Yeah. And like he played a dragon basically all that stream, and he was awesome at it. Like, yeah. And the dragon effectively mops the floor with everybody, like so easily. It's like, oh, this dragon's really old, and then like, yeah, just
and very powerful. Yeah, it's a dragon.
Yeah, there was a great part where they tried to like run away around like the ruined wall of the city, and the dragon just body checks the whole wall on top of them, and then grabs the one that he wants out of there. I'm like, well, that sucks. Oh. Like you guys are having a rough time.
That's not good.
Yeah, it was really good. Archimedes wants to know if you've ever played the Pathfinder adventure card game.
I was actually at Gen Con the year it came out, and so remember my wife and I looking at it and going like, that looks really cool, we should play that game, and then kind of not getting around to it, and then talking to some friends who'd played it, and they said it was fun to play once you'd set up, but the setup was kind of took a bit, so I never ended up picking it up, so no, I have not played it, but it's been one of those like kind of on the edge of like, I wouldn't mind trying that sometime.
Yeah, I think I'm one of the few people who never got around to playing Pathfinder in 3.5 either.
Oh, okay.
So I always played Eberron and some Dark Sun, but mostly Eberron.
Dark Sun. Yes, anyways.
Dark Sun's great.
My favorite campaign setting.
Oh, great settings.
I know.
You're one of many people who says Dark Sun is their favorite.
Oh, I loved. Well, I've always loved. Sort of post-apocalyptic stuff has always been very near and dear to my heart, and so Fallout series and other kind of post-apocalyptic sort of visions, and combining post-apocalyptic with magic and fantasy I was very into that.
Yeah, and it's also just it's not a those aren't tropes that have been explored to death in the way that some other ones have, and so I find that it's easier to feel like it's a really fresh, different thing. Especially, I mean, obviously it always depends on the creativity of your play group and your DM, or you, since you're usually the DM, but it's like it's a uncommon enough setting that there are only so many caves, dungeons, and elves that you can deal with. But they came up with some really nice ways to twist those archetypes around. Like the elves are very different,
and halflings are cannibals.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I mean, as a DM, that was always for me. It was always there we go, cannibal halfling.
Yeah.
I always, like, all my games kind of started with me getting excited about something, like, oh, this is a cool idea. I would like to explore this idea with some players and build something around that. And so, like Dark Sun or any kind of more off-the-wall setting that you're like, okay, that's a really cool thing. That I find that helpful for me as a DM. Because I always found it difficult to DM when I usually didn't play other people's modules and stuff. I liked playing in someone else's campaign setting. Yeah. But then making up my own adventures within that of things that I just thought like or I'd have a moment, like I remember taking the ferry back from Vancouver and having this image of like a boat sinking next to like being blown up against the rocks in a storm at night and sinking and the lights all kind of flickering out, and thought like, I want to put that into my game. That would be so cool.
I always just think of mean things to do to players, and then I just send that to my DM friends. Like, here's an idea.
Just do that. Yes.
Yeah. Next time that your party wipes against some like against Strahd, have Strahd like kill a couple, turn one into a vampire, and then like sell the other ones to the Drow for slaves, and then they could start their next campaign as slaves. And they're like, he's like, well, that would suck. I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't it be funny?
Wouldn't it be great? Yeah.
So there's a raffle right now.
Okay.
That I think, who won it?
Go.
Did somebody already win? It's going.
It's going. Yeah.
Tyrell Force Grey DLC. Dylan Sprouse's Fearbolg Druid, everybody's favorite Druid, who I'm obviously not using in the game right now, but who is very good. It's a great DLC. I mean, all of them give you a gold shiny
DLC.
epic.
It's a great DLC.
But
you're really selling it there.
It's a character that many formations use. Yep. Like Barrowin requires a little bit more strategy, and you need to be you need to have geared her up well enough to replace Tyrell, and Tyrell is phenomenal. So congratulations to whomever
When a win
wins.
happens.
Whoever RNG wins that one. Any plans to have a Forgotten Realms villains campaign at some point in the future? I think that ties into people wanting to actually play as Strahd.
No plans at this point.
Yeah, there's so many good villains too.
That's true.
Yeah. Let's see. Possible design a champion content in the future where the community submits a 5e character and bio to be added as an event character. That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, possible. I mean, yeah, there'd be stuff we'd have to work through to make that happen, but certainly not outside the realm of possibility.
Xanthanos, Regis Wen, D&D Beholder. That's the emote that shows the beholder in chat. Hope you guys have a great 2018. Thanks, Xanthanos. We appreciate your feedback. Regis Wen. Wouldn't he be a good character add? I like Regis.
Yeah,
He's fun.
Of course.
Amulet in his bag and his like daggers that like ghosts come out of.
On the
and
list.
Stuff.
Will happen.
Yeah.
It's a long
Someday.
list.
Someday.
Long list.
Dire Fist. When the current slots are filled up with 2 characters each, will you be adding new slots, or will swaps include more than 2 characters? Probably.
Yeah, certainly possible to have swaps include more than 2 characters, and certainly possible to have more slots along the bench over time.
I think there are some slots in Crusaders where there's like 4 or 5 for that individual spot. So, and then you've added like more and more space over
bench slots.
Yeah. But they have like 100 more champions than this does at this point.
Yeah.
So,
well, Crusaders is
100 more Crusaders than we have.
What are we, 3 years in on that? So 2.5 years.
Fang Terror. I'm guessing that stacking with Barrowan has already been discussed. What are the cliff notes for that? Cliff notes. There was a bug that allowed you to stack Barrowan's buff basically indefinitely until a character attacked, allowing them to hit literally infinite damage, which is not something that's supposed to be possible. And we spent a lot of time talking to our community about it, and got a lot of really amazing feedback, detailing like not only like first letting us know about the bug, but like detailing how to replicate it, what it was doing, showing examples of how far people had been progressing with it, which is crazy. And so we were able to issue a fix relatively quickly thanks to their help. And but
not as quick as we would have if it hadn't been the holidays, though.
Yeah,
so it came up, and we
certainly that happening while we had our week off was less than ideal.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so yeah, and it was actually I was really impressed at how much like feedback we got from the community on how to find that bug, because there was another one at the same time about converting Divine Favor more than once. Right. And like we were able to isolate them really quickly and figure out how to fix them really quickly, just because we got an overwhelming amount of information from our community about it. So yeah, so thank you. That was really awesome. It made a huge help on getting that done quickly. Yeah. Are you going to add HP numbers to the mobs? By the way, I just started and I'm loving it. Desert Hawk 135. Well, I'm glad you're loving it. Yeah, welcome. So yeah, I guess HP numbers instead of just the red bar. That's something that Dave's been asked a few times while on stream. And
what did he say?
I don't remember the exact wording, but it's like
no.
No, it wasn't a no. It was more like trying to think of a way that we could fit it in, if possible, that would that would just work.
That would not be all messy.
Yeah.
That's actually, it's a really interesting,
because especially when mobs stack up like these were-rats that are all stacking up on me, it's like hard to tell what's going on.
Well, it's an interesting challenge in I think particularly in an idle game, is there's all this information you need to surface, and like all of these numbers, because at the core, one of the experiences of idle games is very much around numbers and numbers going up, but you need to see the numbers and understand the numbers, and then figuring out ways to surface all of that information without it getting too cluttered. Arguably, you can argue your view on whether we're too cluttered or not, but
there's definitely an element
a
of
challenge,
design for
right?
that, yeah.
And so so like the bars at least give you a sense of you know, how far along, obviously, you are to kill things, which isn't very far. Dylan, you're not playing very well.
That's, you know, I gotta earn more favor.
He's like, I beat it. So, anyways.
Well, I haven't completed this.
So was that Dave's answer? Like, it would be nice to do if we figured a way to do it that was elegant?
I think he was looking at it at a slightly different angle, but the answer was really similar.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess the other thing is that, like, you know, just where you have information on the screen, because certainly there isn't currently a way for you to have a good indicator of what's going on when there's a huge stack of mobs on your tank.
Right.
And so it's like, what is the solution for that? And like, that's where we left it. It's like, what is the solution for that?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Why are we using Calliope instead of Dadius? Because I am using Jamila as my main DPS and not a caster. So Dadius would not buff her at all. That's why. Zeza Shatan, can you add the 1980s D&D cartoon characters as champions? Yeah, you're not the first person to ask that. And we got a note from Wizards about that at the end of last year, didn't we?
We may have. I'm not sure how much we can say about that. Can we? Potentially?
Yeah, I think we potentially could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Salvage Bar. How much do I have to pay to win? To win what?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
In the single player game with no victory conditions?
Yeah. Yeah, with no multiplayer aspect or leaderboards or way to play against players.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know what your definition of winning is.
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing that's really important is, so we're a studio that makes free-to-play games. Obviously, people spend money in the games. Not everyone spends money in the games, and the people that do spend money in the games are ways in which we can all get paid and do this as a job, and not have other jobs that we have to do. So we definitely have mechanisms for people to pay, but we really in our games, as a design philosophy, go out of our way to not pit people against other people. And so there's not like a pay to win, like I want to be better, like Dylan came over and beat me up, and so now I want to beat Dylan up, so I'm going to spend a bunch of money to beat Dylan up. And so that's why, you know, a single player game, and there's no leaderboards in the game and no way to kind of like highlight that, so people can, you know, they can spend money in the game or not spend money in the game. They can spend, you know, just a little bit of money in the game, or they can spend more money in the game, and there's no way to kind of really brag about that or try to incentivize other people to spend in the game or something like that. So
yeah, and many of our like most active and prominent community members who know the most about the game are not people who pay for it. Like, they play the game. They have thousands of hours, certainly more than myself even. Like I'm at like 1,500, which is not a small amount, but there are people who are way further, who have way more goals, who have unlocked every blessing, and like, yeah, they're not paying for it, they're just playing the game. Yeah. And there are certainly some things that I mean, you can go on either our Discord at discord.gg/idlechampions, or on the Reddit, the subreddit, which is like, you know, reddit.com/r/idlechampions, and there are people who can explain how to do those things to you, how to use different strategies to maximize how much favor you're getting, and, you know, how many gems you're getting, how quickly, and in order to buy chests and so on. Like, it's all there. Yeah.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how much do you have to pay to win? You don't have to pay anything.
Yes.
But we like it when you do.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
You know, I like having a job. Yeah. Might you add other Baldur's Gate characters like Imoen and her "you're all buffle-headed" ability? I don't know what the status is on Baldur's Gate characters.
Well, yes. I mean, we might, but
we might be able to. But I'm not, yeah. It's those kinds of questions.
No,
are always tricky.
I think those ones. No, the Baldur's Gate's characters. That's IP. That's Brunor. Or Minsk, I should say.
Yeah, Minsk is, yeah.
Yeah, but so I think that IP is all clearly owned by Wizards.
Because he's also in comic books and other stuff, so it's like.
But it started with Baldur's Gate, went out from there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And that was a licensed game, so it should all be.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it comes. So our license is with Wizards of the Coast, and Wizards of the Coast owns some things, and the things that they own. So.
Cool. Yeah. So
you're playing along. So how long you been with us now, Dylan?
Since September.
Since
I played the
September.
game for like a month and a half before coming on board.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, wait. Early October.
Early October.
Yeah.
So October, November, December. So 3 months.
Yeah.
Usually like your 3-month review. So
Well,
Dylan,
you're gonna do my 3-month review on Twitch?
On Twitch. It's like,
That's
so
cold.
how's it going?
That's so unfair.
Tell me what you really think.
Yeah. Well, I think so and so should know.
No, but it's been great having you here. Actually, it's been both. I think the community's really enjoyed having you to engage with, both obviously weekly on Twitch as well as on Discord and Reddit. And it's been great having you in the office. Clearly, someone who enjoys their games.
In the office where everybody's got headphones on and they're in their like little world.
No, I meant when we when we come out of that to go play Dungeons and Dragons and do Extra Life and stuff like that. So, yeah.
I have more Civilization 5 hours. Yeah, what is a lot of hours? I know that some people have like thousands.
See, we love you, Dylan.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you.
Look, they love Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if only I was able to play D&D on stream. No. So
That's why there's an idle game.
it's true. Actually, I mean, the game's always open. Like it's. And why
Always
wouldn't
gone.
it be? Because it's easy to keep it going.
It's true.
Unless you have a forced restart. Yeah. Do we have any other questions for the Eric Jordan?
Or Dylan. Or you could just tell me how much you love Dylan. We like hearing
that's
that.
weird.
I like trolling for like Dylan awesomeness.
Yeah. Mortained 2,439 hours so far since day one of the free play.
Nice.
That's pretty good. I mean, the only people I know higher are Dave, who's got the unfair amount. Endre 1983, 3,095 hours played. Probably was in the beta, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dylan has a great beard? ? Admittedly, I do need to trim, but I haven't decided how to deal with it yet.
Yes.
Do I shave it off altogether? That'd be kind of weird for people.
Mm-hmm.
It looks so much
a little
younger.
too
It's
stark.
kinda,
I know. Yes, I shaved my beard off.
when I want to get ID'd at the liquor store, I shave my beard off.
There you go.
Yeah,
They don't ID me anymore. They just look at me and kind of yeah, you're fine.
Yeah. Faint Karmatic. You look like you need a drink. Faint Karmatic, 1994 hours. That's pretty good. Slacklot, 1,622. Wow. 2,456 for Majestic Moose, 42. That's impressive.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there a question there?
Plans for allowing players to hide or lock characters they are not using so they don't accidentally level them. This is a question that's come up a few times, and I think it's come up with both Dave and Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just kind of a UI design thing, about shuffling it around. And I don't know that we have a solution in mind for it. Because especially since the other thing is that you can't fit everybody on one screen as well. Is the other part of that. So
well, it's always a challenge, when we're putting resources into doing things on the game. There's resources that go into adding new champions and the effects that those champions have and stuff like that. And then, those are always exciting and add new gameplay elements and stuff like that. And then there's a big bucket of quality of life stuff that doesn't demonstrably sort of move the game forward, but just make it easier to play the existing game that we have. And so it's always a balancing act between, how much goes into just making the game work better in its current form, and how much goes to doing new cool things, right?
Yeah.
And often new cool things win out. So
Satine's here.
Oh, hey Satine. There we go. Happy New Year's.
Yeah. Our Maze Arcana friends.
Yes, welcome.
There's a lot of chat here. I'm missing the questions because people are actively discussing, which is great.
There you go. Or are they just saying how awesome you are? Look, Heart, D&D ampersand.
You see, I'm looking past that, but thank you. What was the question? Having got to floor 995 twice, I cannot seem to damage the boss, even using fire breath potions. Is this intentional? One of those people using the potion burner strat.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it curves all the way up to infinity, so you might just be getting there. So yeah, it's you're not supposed to be able to progress that far.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it's so much intentional as it's sort of the design and how the numbers all come together.
Yeah. That'd be a good question for Justin
to
answer in more detail.
Justin, who every time I look over at Justin's screen, it's filled with a spreadsheet with various columns in green and red as he tries to balance everything.
Yeah. Faith Clown, are there concerns regarding adding a massively powerful character like Elminster? I don't know if there's concerns.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons that we didn't have like Dritz in with the starting set of champions was, you know, he's a really powerful drow, and we wanted you kind of to work towards getting him, and it also felt like, you know, did you want Dritz at level 1? That seemed a little odd, so that was, it's the kind of, this intersection between the kind of the lore and being true to the lore of how powerful certain characters are with the game mechanics, where when you reset, you all started at level 1 and then you kind of buy up from there. And so kind of like trying to balance between those two things.
Yeah, and it's also like unlocking Dritz feels like an accomplishment.
Right, yeah. But then it, you know, and we wanted that, right? Because, you know, it should be this really awesome thing. So that was kind of our way, or, you know, the biggest part really, Justin, from the design perspective, you know, having that feel like this is a really awesome character, even though actually when you do a reset and you've got him, he's going to start at level 1 just like all the other characters, right? But it still feels like it's awesome and it's an achievement. Yeah, and certainly a character like Elminster would be powerful. You know, would need to be categorically a very strong character. Yeah. And we find out how powerful Volo really is, or whether he just sort of says obnoxious things. You'd have both of them and have a big debuff if you have them both in your formation.
That would be funny, actually. It'd be a funny thing to add.
Yeah.
I mean, most people wouldn't get that, but some of them, the ones that did, would love it.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, with the Volo's Guide to Monsters and stuff like that's moved forward, and one of the things that's been kept in kind of canon and reinforced, so you certainly see that now. So someone's asking, legitimate?
Is an Android port in the works?
I can neither confirm nor deny that Android exists, or that we're doing a port, or that there is a port in the works, or any of those things. Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. I was like, there's so many things I'm working on at my desk right now, and basically none of it I can really talk about right now. So there are things that we're doing that we can't talk about.
Yeah. Since Satine is here, could we get Maze Arcana characters in the game?
Look at this, similar. Yes, we would like to do that too. Look at all these things we would like to do.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out the way through all of the steps in getting it done.
Yes, it's definitely it's a process that we need to figure out, and then establish, and then work through a bunch of times.
There we go.
So yeah, let's see. It's just past Q2, so we're getting relatively close to the end, which means we're getting towards our last giveaway. So our last giveaway.
Do we have like a drum roll?
Yeah. No. Actually, it'll make everything in here shake because everything's like so wobbly. But we have a rogue character in our game.
We do?
That people like, as long as they've signed up for the newsletter and they've unlocked them. Whose DLC we're going to give away. And so that gives you, I believe it's the Magnificent Cape of Free Flowing with a gold shiny epic that buffs his friendly buff, which is absurdly strong. Too strong, Justin. No, I'm kidding. And then a rare set for everything else and a bunch of chests. So it's a Hitch Force Grey DLC to close out today's. Sorry, I was reading a question at the same time. Today's stream.
Yeah. Isn't that the word you're going for? Stream?
No, because I read questions as they come in at the same time, and sometimes I just kind of like I start focusing too much on that instead of finishing what I'm saying. Yeah. Somebody asking a follow-up question to the Android port, which we can't really answer. Let's see. Archimedes wants to know who is each of our favorite characters, ignoring usefulness or meta. Do you mean in game or in lore?
I assume champions.
I assume in game.
By saying, you know, ignoring usefulness.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I want to say Boo and Minsk. Both in terms of how useful the champion is, but also just like it's Minsk and Boo. Come on.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like miniature space hamsters?
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I really like Arcan's. Like, I was thinking about the animations and stuff, and like Arcan's fire breath attack looks so awesome.
Oh yeah, I could probably. Can I unlock that at this point? Yeah, I can.
So yeah, that's one of my, if you kind of go ignoring usefulness and just like how awesome they look, I think that looks really cool. So that's up there for me.
Torch everything.
Torch the next thing.
Yeah.
Torch them.
There's a blockade. Torch the blockade,
Torch the blockade.
which won't do it, but
it should catch it on fire. Yeah, see, that looks so great.
It's a satisfying one to cast.
It is.
I think the most satisfying alt to cast for me is Dadius's, because he magic missiles everything on screen.
Right.
It's just like, and they blow out and hit everything. So if you have 50 guys, he just keeps rocking it out. It's like it's got a whoomp to it that not all of them have. And I'm just like, yeah, that's sweet.
I like Ashara's ultimate's nice too.
Oh yeah, the fireball.
Fireball, yeah, that looks pretty cool.
I suppose I could just cast all these as we're
You're just
talking
gonna
about
go through casting ultimates, yeah.
Yeah. Boom.
Bam. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
The boss already did.
Have another question?
Yeah, let's see. We got one left, and it's a good one, and it's a good one to close out on, I think. So Moose Changer Pat, will you ever hold any polls to ask the community's opinion? That's a very good question, I think.
Yes. I mean, we have done them in all of our other games, and so I can't imagine we wouldn't do them here. It's after we first get a game out, because it's not just launching the game, which in and of itself is a whole thing to have happen, but it's then live servicing and getting that live service schedule kind of really going. And this time, of course, it's not just us making the game, but of course we're working with Wizards of the Coast, and it's a Dungeons & Dragons game, and so there's going through working with them. And so it's taken a bit. And it does, like with every one of our games, for the first bit just to kind of get stabilized and get into a natural rhythm, and then it becomes easier to start getting input from the community on various pieces. And so
it's certainly been difficult to get feedback so far just because of where we were at.
Yeah, kind of so many kind of moving pieces and stuff like that. But my experience is once that gets stabilized and we're kind of used to that, then doing it becomes something. It becomes we've done it a lot in Crusaders and Bushwhackers. So yes. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, that's a good one too, and it's an interesting subject in that like the best ways to get feedback and like how to take that data and how to make it relevant to what you're working on, because you're not always getting feedback that you can do any kind of actionable thing off of. So it's
especially where you have a game played by thousands and thousands of people, and if you get a lot of people providing feedback, then it's not like you can sit there and read every piece of feedback, and so you have to how much multiple choice kind of stuff are you doing, so you can look at kind of aggregate stuff. And so yeah, there's definitely we've learned over time of ways to do that. I can't say that we're awesome at it, but we've definitely
getting there,
adapted and changed how we get feedback and solicit feedback.
And certainly we want community feedback. Like if there's something that we're doing wrong, and enough people think that that's what we're doing wrong, and they all tell us so, then we're gonna look at addressing those things. It's not always easy. I mean, it's impossible to make everybody happy about everything, but like we want to learn and grow as individuals, as a company, as as a game. So it's like it's one of those things where feedback is important to that. So
actually, it's one of the things that really attracted me to this kind of providing a game where you're providing a game as a service, was that you could be much more responsive to feedback. And so when players, ultimately you provide this experience, and you work really hard to try to create a certain experience for players. And if you're going through a process where the players, basically the only way that you update that is to get through some distribution mechanism that goes into retail and then players buy it, it's a sort of high friction sort of loop to get information out to players and have players provide feedback back to you and sort of go back around that. And so I really like the idea of games service where we're doing regular updates, and so we can iterate to players on a regular basis and take feedback in and listen. And one of the reasons that folks like yourself and Eric are so key to the organization is because we need people interacting with the community to then feed that feedback back and then making changes. And sometimes it's more obvious to the community, sometimes it's less obvious to the community, but it's a really important kind of part of how we run the business overall for every one of our games.
And certainly feedback like things when there's a point last year when there was only really one viable formation and combo of combination of DPSs and characters that would allow you to push past a certain point. And it's like, yes, we have planned to address this. Like, we're going to release more characters. This is how we're going to shift up the meta. But like, there's only so much information we can give out, and it takes, 2, 3, 5, 6 weeks for that all to play out. And then characters not only have to unlock them, but then gear them up in order to understand. It's like, oh wait, yeah, this is all different now.
Right. Yeah,
but it takes a while for that cycle to get around.
Yeah, but still, even when it takes a while, it is a fraction of the time of shipping in the old world of physical distribution. We had to ship stuff out to, GameStop or something like that, and people would go into GameStop and then buy it. Like, that cycle time is way, way longer.
That doesn't sound like a thing to me. That sounds like something that old people say that's not actually true.
It's been true for, yes, youngin. Let's see. Someone was just asking who my favorite employee is, and I now know who it isn't.
Touche. That's kind of basically that's really all we have for today's show. So thank you all so much for watching the stream. Thanks to Eric for joining me this afternoon, especially when he's busy with. Well, I've seen your schedule; it's very full. So thank you for taking time to join us.
Pleasure. Yeah.
And I believe that the schedule for this channel has shifted somewhat, because it's no longer Destiny and Doom coming up at 3. Oh. It now looks like it is Acquisitions Inc., the C Team at 3:30, and then Critical Role at 7. So we're on the Thursday lineup, which is the best lineup.
Yeah.
It's only missing Maze Arcana, our friends. It's missing them. But it's, So stick around. About a half hour or so from now, things will really get rolling. Anyways, we'll see you next week, same time. Same channel.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes. Happy New Year.
Yes. Thanks for having me on, Dylan.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye.